I'm here with Macushla Robinson, who is an incredible curator, artist, academic, director of a gallery, has lived here for 10 years in New York and has done, I guess, what I would call a seminal work that's informed a lot of my thinking and ideas around how I guess contemporary art and historical canon of art has influenced our perceptions of women, gender, violence, and what's acceptable and almost what is glamorized and celebrated. So, hello, how are you?
Hi. All the better for coffee. How are you?
Now, let's just jump straight into it.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the book that it has informed this discussion about the rapes of the Met?
Yeah, so the book is called Hyperbolically Every Rape in the Met Museum. So it was a kind of performative action where I typed the word rape into the Met collection database, which is available online. And it came back with 181 results. This was in 2020. If you type the word rape in now, you'll come back with 200 and something.
Wow.
A lot of this came out of my long-term sort of struggle with the ways in which images of sexual violence are really minimized in how we talk about them, but
Yes.
glorified and glamorized in how they're depicted.
When you first, just casually put in rapes at the Met and 181 came up, were you shocked?
Not really. I'm very rarely shocked. Like I was saying before, I'm a real pessimist.
Yeah. So it wasn't a
It
surprise.
wasn't a surprise. It started with Poissons,
Yes.
which is actually called Abduction of the Sabine Women.
All right, so we've found the Poisson, and now I'm going to hand it over to you to introduce the concept of how this began the project.
So in some ways, this project began here because I remember it from art history, from all those classes I did over and over again as a student, where we would see the abduction of the Sabine women and we would talk about it in terms of line and light and composition. And particularly what stuck in my memory was having art history professors talking about this scene from mythology as a scene that was a complex multi-figure composition. And it's really where that idea of thinking about the language we use to describe rape scenes and the mastery over materials and the minimization of the actual subject began for me.
And so we've just been walking through room after room here, and just to fill you in again, so 181 works are identified as having the name rape, or as that was the subject matter. And it is quite incredible experience when you come into this grand building and that's so in front of our open eyes, these incredibly violent scenes are just being battled out, and we just look at them like we're watching a beautiful landscape.
Yeah, which in a way chimes with how we do things now. I mean, so many people watch murder mysteries for lovely landscape. It's a really interesting thing that we love to look at this violence in this way. I think this particular scene also is very beautifully painted, and that's one of the complex realities of doing this work, is thinking about the sort of all the terror and the beauty built into the imagery, and the visual iconography of the rape scene, particularly the women. I feel like I notice always that women always have like one foot off the ground, and one arm lifted in the air. The hands are a huge symbol of like non-consensuality almost.
Yes, surrender.
Yeah. Something very powerful in the idea of the domination of the female form as the foundation of the state as well. Because remember, this is the founding of Rome.
Yes.
Romulus is like, we need women to be a society. So they went stage a festival and then kidnap all the women from the neighboring town. So rape is here, I think, the originary violence of the state, of the Republic of Rome. Let's not forget that America was founded on the principles of the Roman Republic.
Yes, and we can see a deep reflection in the mirror that's going on right now.
Yes.
So 27 works based on this particular narrative or story here in the Met.
Yeah. It's something that gets repeated over and over again. And it's something that I found really interesting. Like, up until the 20th century, art history was a very, very canonical practice, and so things would be painted, the same scenes, the same myths were repeated again and again and again and again and again. And I was very struck by that re-performance constantly of these mythological scenes and their inscription into contemporary political reality.
Yes.
That they were really used as a lexicon upon which people drew, and by reinscribing a mythology like that, you reinscribe a lot of principles built into it.
Yeah. So in a way, there's no surprise really what's happening here in this country right now.
No.
This is the narrative that's been told again and again and again.
Yeah. If we're thinking about this as something constructed specifically for the male gaze, we're thinking about it as something that the man could imagine himself in multiple ways. He might imagine himself as the rapist. He might imagine himself as the hero coming in to save her.
Yes.
Men play multiple roles in these stories.
Yes.
There's quite a lot of images of Hercules saving women from being raped, and then there's images of Hercules raping people. It's not a very simple binary.
And I guess as a woman seeing yourself in that role, it's probably the last position you'd want to ever find yourself. But at the same time, it's quite heroic.
Yeah.
So that's where that juxtaposition, it's not black or white. There is a complexity.
I think one of the things that
for the experience of viewing these works.
Yeah, and one of the things I find most challenging about this whole pattern of image making is that we really also, at some level, they're all these beautiful women.
Yes.
And we all think that it's kind of, the story you get told is that it's kind of a compliment.
Yes.
How Trump said about the Joyce Carol Oates thing, one of the things that he said was she wasn't his type.
Exactly.
And just the way that cuts, that, you have to be beautiful in order to be successful as a woman.
Yes.
You have to be a particular kind of seductive as there is this privilege attached to that. And that privilege is just undercut so dramatically by this.
Yes.
That, you just cannot win.
Yeah.
That's the
So
painful
true.
part. The book is really about bringing to light the ways in which we both minimize and glorify sexual violence throughout art history and in the museum space. It's a complicated gesture because there's a lot of beauty in it as well, so it's really a complicated reflection upon what it means to reiterate and constantly repeat images of rape, and what the word itself means, questions around consent, questions around how beauty gets connected to sexual violence, and the myths and stories we tell ourselves about what we're worth.
I just want to give you this bag because this is Arts Against Gender-Based Violence, and your
Thank
book
you.
was one of the seminal sort of points that really launched this whole project, the fact that we need to examine how we express, celebrate, frame and kind of communicate gender-based violence within the historical Western Canon of Art, but also in the contemporary canon of art.
And I'll just be taking my bag now. Bye.
See ya!